Okay, pag-usapan natin itong si Attorney Rowena Guanzon ay nag-react na po siya dito sa kaliwat kanan na impeachment complaint. Kaya alam nyo naman, no? Itong nag-file sila ng impeachment complaint laban kay BBM, nag-file din sila ng impeachment complaint laban kay VP Sara. Sabi dito ni Attorney Rowena Guanzon, lahat na lang puro impeachment. Ang taong bayan pagod na dyan sa kakarinig ng impeachment na yan. Diba? Halata sila na itong mga like sila De Lima, halatang halata na they are not for the Filipino people. Nandyan po sila para guluhin itong mga politicians na nagsiservisyo sa taong bayan. Hindi ko kinakampihan si BBM ha. Ang sa akin lang, yung mga impeachment complaint na yan, sagabal yan sa sa bansa natin. Instead na yung mga government officials ay makafocus sa kanilang trabaho, syempre, kapag may impeachment complaint, hindi na sila makapag-focus. Okay? Mamaya, ipakita ko yung video ni Attorney Rowena Guanzon ha, kung paano niya binanatan itong mga impeachment complaint na ito. At ito, pangalawa nating pag-uusapan ay itong si Congressman De Lima. Ano bang nangyari kay Congressman De Lima? Tuta ba ito ni BBM, itong si De Lima? Kasi imagine that one ipinagtanggol niya itong si Bongbong Marcos sa addict issue. Okay? Kasi wala raw sapat na ebidensya, which is tama naman, pero hindi pa ba tayo kontento doon sa revelasyon ni Manang Aimee? Grabe yung revelasyon na yun Kasi that is betrayal of public trust. Pero panoorin ninyo, pakinggan ninyo, paano ipinagtanggol nitong ni De Lima, baka may crush ito kay BBM Ipinagtanggol itong si BBM. Mamaya ipapakita ko yan, okay? At ito, para hindi niyo ma-miss itong si Attack Dog Castro, Anti-Claire Castro ang ibig kong sabihin para hindi nyo ma-miss, panoorin rin natin ito. Ano ba ang reaksyon ng Pangulong Marcos at ang Malacanang patungkol po sa impeachment complaint laban sa Bangag, okay? Sige. Pakinggan natin si Anti-Claire kasi hindi po kompleto yung araw natin kapag hindi tayo natawa sa kanya. Mamaya pakinggan natin dyan. At heto, nagsalita na itong si Robin Padilla, Senator Robin Padilla, na gusto na niyang palitan itong si Senate President Soto. Wala namang kwenta yung Senate President na yan 'Di ba? Anong ginawa niya? Sinabihan siya ni Panelo, "Wag kang makialam dito sa mundo ng mga lawyers. Wala kang alam diyan, 'di ba?" Kasi po, ito ay sa usaping impeachment trial ni VP Sara Inday Duterte. Nasabi niya, ako willing siyang palitan ang Senate President kapag ang issue ay tungkol po sa impeachment. Okay? Kung maalala natin, itong si Robin ay ayaw nang tumakbo sa 2028. Kasi ang nakikita niya, away lang dyan sa Senado. Nung dumating si Lacson at itong si Tito Soto at yan si Kiko Pangilinan, lalong nagkaranda pa, nagkagulo dyan sa Senado. Nung hindi pa dumating yung mga senador na yan, peaceful naman yung Senado na yan nung pamumuno ni Chis Escudero, di ba? So, ayan, ito pa, ipapakita ko rin sa inyo. Last but not the least ay itong nagkainitan po itong si Senator Marcoleta at itong si Kiko Pangilinan, debate nila dyan. Ano ba ang pinagdidebatihan ng dalawa? Malalaman nyo yan mamaya, ipapakita ko sa inyo. Okay? Pero guys, bago ang lahat, bago natin ito itatalakay, ipapakita, help me po muna na i-like at saka i-share itong ating video para guys kakalat ito sa taong bayan at marami po ang makakita, makaparticipate dito sa ating vlog, no? Sa comment section. At ilabas nyo ang inyong mga opinion, okay? At sa mga bago pa lang dito sa aking channel, if this is your first time na nakabisita dito sa aking YouTube channel, ay subscribe na rin kayo. Okay? Wala naman, madali lang naman yan. Pindutin nyo lang yung subscribe button. Walang bayad, libre lang yan. No? Updated ka pa sa ating mga trending na mga balita. Dito lang yan sa Don Mar TV. Ko-compile natin ang mga trending news every day. Okay? So, heto. Unahin muna natin itong kay Attorney Rowena Guanzon na sukang-suka na dito sa mga ifina-file na mga impeachment complaint, kaliwat kanang impeachment complaint na wala nang ibang inaatupag itong mga pasaway na mga politicians ay halatang halata na hungry for power lamang ang kanilang inatupag. Okay? Ito, pakinggan po natin si Attorney Rowena Guanzon. Play.
Gandang araw. Impeachment na naman. Part 2. Pero this time, kasama na si BBM. O ito na. Labo-labo na. Mga Pilipino at mga Pilipinas. 2 taon na lang bago mag-eleksyon. Impeachment na naman.
Correct.
Kahit na sinabi na ng Supreme Court, unconstitutional na talaga. May finality na. Unconstitutional.
Imagine that one na. Ito, nakakaintindi po ito kasi attorney, lawyer. Pero itong si Senate President Soto, ang tigas ng ulo. Sabi ko nga, hindi ka na nahiya sa mga lawyers, Soto? Diba? Nagmamagaling ka pa. Sabi niya pa, it will take decades raw para mabago ang style ng Supreme Court. Soto, parang, alam mo, Soto, sa totoo lang, pinagtatawanan ka talaga ng mga lawyers ngayon. No, nakakahiya ka.
Nakaraang first impeachment complaint against...
Kasi yung kay Soto, ang kanyang opinion at politika ang kanyang mga pinagsasabing mga desisyon. Yung kanyang opinion dyan sa pagbasura ng impeachment complaint kay BP Sara sa Supreme Court. Etong mga mga justice ang kanilang binabase ay kung ano yung nakasaad sa libro. Kung meron bang illegal o legal ba ang pag-file ng impeachment complaint laban kay BP Sara, doon lang sila. By the book sila, by the book. Hindi po pwede na yung opinion mo lang ang gagamitin mo, Soto. Kasi sa tingin mo, pamumulitika yung sa tingin mo, ikaw yung pamumulitika eh. Etong ang Supreme Court, nagdidesisyon sila basing on the book. So may nakikita silang kapalpakan doon sa tawag dyan, sa House of Representatives. Unang-una dyan, hindi nyo binigyan ng copy si VP Sara. Pangalawa, halatang halata na ang mga nag-file ng impeachment complaint laban kay VP Sara, mga kalaban niya sa politika. So hindi talaga uubra yan. Because ang nakasaad doon sa konstitusyon natin, sa batas natin, hindi po pwede ang pamumulitika. Anong tawag mo doon? Mga kalaban ang nag-file ng impeachment. Di ba? Ay nako, ewan ko na lang.
Vice President Sara, try again. Ang mga kalaban.
Di ba? Ang impeachment complaint laban kay VP Sara, wala na, di ba? Nag-final decision na ang Supreme Court, pero eto ang nakakatawa. Nag-file na naman sila ulit. Limpak-limpak na naman ng mga papel ang kanilang alam ko namang bababasura yan eh. Ang daming papel na nasayang eh. Okay, so wala na. Hindi na nga umubra doon sa Supreme Court. So, dadaan na naman sila sa the same process. Tapos ibabasura na naman sa Supreme Court. Unanimous na naman yan. Di ba? So, wala.
At mga kakampi ni BBM, try again, let me try again. Nakakainis na kayo ha. Sama na yung mga tao sa impeachment. Tapos
Correct.
ngayon si Bongbong, moro-moro pa yung impeachment nyo. Walk out pa si Abante. Walk out ka dyan.
Tama, di ba? Ang OA ni Abante, pa drama-drama effect pa itong si Abante. Heto, pag-usapan rin natin itong si Congressman Representative De Lima na ipinagtanggol si BBM sa issue ng kabangagan. Ito, panoorin natin.
The Honorable De Lima.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is actually supplementary or complementary to the manifestation made or the opinion made by the Honorable Representative Barbers. The ultimate general ground, betrayal of public trust. The specific allegation is alleged drug addiction.
Isa sa mga complaint, no, especially doon sa second impeachment complaint laban kay BBM ay patungkol po doon sa drug addiction ng Pangulo. And this is a serious issue. At marami ng mga lumalabas na istorya patungkol kay BBM. Yung kay Cathy Binag, nung video na lumabas. Yung kay Tantoco. Ang dami na. Kinonfirm ni Senator Amy Marcos. Hindi pa ba sapat yun? Kapatid na yun, ha? Kapatid na yun. Si former President Duterte na ang unang nagsabing bangag siya. Di ba? Ang dami. Ang dami talagang makatestify. Pero, ako this is my own opinion. Sa tingin ko si De Lima, alam niyang totoo. Ako, kahit i-deny ito ni De Lima pero sa tingin ko naniniwala itong si De Lima na bangag yung presidente. Sa tingin ko, yan ang paniniwala niya. Pero ewan ko, bakit dito sa video na ito, ipinagtanggol niya? Ang tanong ko kay De Lima, magkano, ma'am? Magkano ba? Let us say, mali tayo dyan na no involved. Pero, bakit ipinagtanggol ngayon nito ng mga taong ito? Sa tingin ko, di ba, anong sabi ni Hontiveros? Anong sabi ni Trillanes? Willing silang makipagsanib puwersa sa mga loyalista. Willing silang makipagsanib puwersa ni BBM, itong mga grupo nila ni De Lima, Dilawan, itong mga Pinklawan, itong si Trillanes, Hontiveros. Yan sila. Dati, isinusuka nila itong si BBM. Lahat na siguro ng banat, mga paninira laban kay BBM, ginawa nila. Sinabihan nilang magnanakaw, kung ano-anong mga sinasabi nila, sinungaling, ang dami. Binanata nila si BBM. Ngayon, gusto na silang makipagsanib puwersa. So, kasi ang layunin nila na matalo nila ang mga Duterte. So, ano masasabi ninyo? Halatang halata na sarili lang nila ang kanilang concern. Kasi, kung solo lang sila na makipaglaban sa mga Duterte, matatalo sila. Nangangailangan sila ng tulong sa isa't isa. Itong mga bangag na grupo, kailangan ang Dilawan. Ang Dilawan, kailangan din itong mga bangag. Di pare-pareha rin kayo. Pareha lang kayo. Tama nga ang sinabi nila. Same feathers flock together. Pareha kayo. Mga walang prinsipyo. Yung isinusukan yung tae, kinain nyo rin. Kinain nyo rin, di ba? So, panoorin nyo paano ipinagtanggol ni De Lima si BBM.
Of the president. And I would point out to certain sub-allegations and refute their insufficiency. Allegation number one, sub-allegation number one, there are serious accusations that PBBM is a drug addict. The offense alluded for this ground is drug addiction. Stating that there are accusations do not constitute factual allegations of the addiction. This ground presupposes that because PBBM is an addict or an alleged addict, he is unfit to be president. However, unfitness per se is not a ground for impeachment. And even when considered as constituting basis for betrayal of public trust, the statements in this ground do not sufficiently establish allegations on how
So, ibig niya sabihin, hindi niya susuportahan itong impeachment complaint na ito kasi nag-aakusa sila na addict si BBM. Ngayon, sabi niya, mali po ito, hindi po ito tama kasi walang ebidensya. Hearsay lang. Yan ang sabi ni Dilima, ha? Ito, hearsay lang, sa puro lang salita, ganun, ganyan. Okay. Pero, ang argumento ng sa mga grupo nila ni Mike Defensor at dito nila Attorney Topacio, madali lang yan. Nagdududa ang taong bayan na bangag ang presidente. Ngayon, sinabi ng taong bayan na para maibsan yung pagdududa namin, okay, magpa-hair follicle test si BBM para kampante ang taong bayan na si BBM po ay malinis at hindi po jadik. Sa ganun, yung trust rating ni BBM sa taong bayan, lalaki yan. Honestly, ako po isusuporta kay BBM if magpa-hair follicle test siya at maging negative po ang result. Susuporta ako, okay, matino yung presidente natin. Pero, ang tanong, taong bayan na nga ang nag-utos na magpa-hair follicle test siya. Bakit ayaw niya? And that is betrayal of public trust. Kasi nakalagay po yan sa ating konstitusyon na once presidente ka ng Pilipinas ay ano yan? 50% of your entire buhay mo. Hindi nga 50% sa tingin ko 70%, no? 70% o 50% ng buhay mo ialay mo sa taong bayan. So meaning to say, kung ano ang sasabihin ng taong bayan, susunod ka. Hindi naman siguro sasabihin ng taong bayan, BBM, anong tawag dyan? Tumalon ka sa bangin. Hindi naman siguro. Lahat naman sigurong sasabihin ng taong bayan ay matino para sa kinabukasan ng ating bansa. So, syempre kami nag-aalala kami bilang taong mamamayang Pilipino. Siyempre, dahil sa pag-alala namin, gusto namin mapa-hair follicle test ang presidente. Di ba? Sige, magpa-hair follicle test ka. At kung maging negative ka, then susuporta kami. Kasi nagdududa kami. Hindi nyo yan maiiwasan na ang taong bayan, magdududa yan. Di ba? Pero yun pa lang, hindi ayaw niya magpa-hair follicle test. That is betrayal of public trust. Parang niloloko nilang tayo.
specific presidential acts were impaired by PBBM's addiction, assuming the addiction to be true.
Di ba? So halatang halata na si Dilima ayaw niyang maniwala dyan sa issue ng kabangagan ni BBM. Kasi ayon sa kanya, walang basihan. So halata, alam mo na, hindi na ako magtataka na ngayong upcoming election sa 2028, magsanib puwersa talaga ang mga bangag at mga dilaw. Okay? So, ito. ito naman yung sa Malacanang, si Auntie Claire Castro. Okay?
Una ko na pong sinabi.
Ito rin naman ang kanilang reaksyon sa mga impeachment complaint laban kay BBM. Ito, panoorin natin si Auntie Claire Castro.
Una ko na pong sinabi, ang pagsasampa po ng impeachment complaint laban po sa Pangulo, hindi Pangulo lamang ang maaapektuhan nito, kundi ang buong bansa at pati ekonomiya.
Maaapektuhan ang buong bansa sa impeachment complaint. Pero ang iniisip kasi ni Castro na kapag ma-impeach itong si BBM ay masisira ang ekonomiya ng bansang Pilipinas. I-given na yan eh. Bakit mo sasabihin na masira ang ekonomiya? Sira na eh. Sinira nyo na ang ekonomiya. Castro. Di kung nasira na yung ekonomiya natin, i-impeach na natin si BBM. Para kung papalit si BP Sara, aayusin natin yan. Diba? Boba ka rin eh. Boba ka talaga, Claire?
So, nababahala po ang Pangulo sa impeachment complaint na isinampas sa kanya hindi para sa sarili niya. Dahil alam niya na wala siyang ginawang mali at walang impeachable offenses siyang nagawa.
Uwe, ang OA. Ang OA mo talaga, Claire. Ang OA mo. Kung i-impeach si BBM, deserve niya. Huwag nyo kaming idamay na maaapektuhan kami. Hindi. Kung ma-impeach si BBM, sa totoo lang, Auntie Claire, magpiesta ang buong bansa. Totoo yan. Kapag ma-impeach si BBM na it's a celebration of the entire Philippines. Yan ang pinakatotoo talaga. Huwag mong sabihin na kapag ma-impeach si BBM, kawawa ang bansa natin. Hindi po kawawa ang bansa natin. Magtatagumpay po ang bansa na ito kapag wala si BBM. Kasi ang papalit si BP Sara. Castro, itong si Castro talagang butiki talaga yung utak nito.
Pero nag-aalala siya sa epekto nito sa ekonomiya.
Nag-aalala. Ang corny. Nag-aalala siya sa mga bulsa niya. Wala naman kayong, malasakit sa tao. Bakit kayo mag-alala sa tao? Wala naman kayo. Puro naman kayo pasikat yan. So, yan po ang Malacanang. Yan ang kanilang reaksyon. Sila raw ay nababalaka sa taong bayan. Ang corny, no? Akala mo, totoong may malasakit sa tao? Wala. Ang yaman-yaman nyo nga dyan sa Malacanang eh. Balita ko nga, may nagsabi sa akin, ang sarap-sarap ng mga pagkain dyan sa Malacanang. Pero nung panahon ni former President Duterte, nag-iingat po si Duterte na gumasta dyan. Yung mga bisita dyan, kahit sino ka pa, eto yung maserve namin kasi talagang tinitipid natin kasi hindi po pera natin ito, pera po ng taong bayan yan. Pero sila ngayon, itong Malacanang, galante. Galante sila. Ay nako. Ito pa Bakit itong si Robin Padilla ay gusto ng palitan itong si Senate President Soto? Ito, panoorin po natin
Kailangan man sa inyo.
Ito, wait muna. I-position muna natin ng maayos ito. Yan. Robin, pasok.
Kailangan man sa inyo. Ayaw ko ng impeachment. Hindi ba obvious?
Impeachment po, lalo sa iyo kasalanan ng
Hindi ako Ayaw ko ng impeachment. Siguro doon lang.
So gusto niyo maging SP?
Wala akong gusto Wala akong gusto. Sinasabi, isang tanong kasi, kung ako ay halimbawa, magkakaroon ako ng pagnanais na magpalit ng leadership, sa usapin na halimbawa, impeachment. Pag yun ang pinag-usapan, halimbawa, may impeachment na nakarating dito, ano ba yun? Obvious naman.
Ang gusto niyo maging leader ng Senate kung mag-impeachment ng Inday ay?
Siyempre, kailangan.
The minority.
Sana, inshallah, God willing. Pro-bayan.
But supportive of VP Sara.
Of course.
Yun yung gusto nyo maging SP, just to be clear po.
Wala na tayong plastikan, di ba?
Diba? Ito si Robin Padilla. Sabi niya, wala na tayong plastikan. Maka Duterte ako, di ba? Yan sabi niya. Alam mo sa totoo lang, bakit nanalo ito ng number 1 sa mga senador noong 2022? Dahil dyan. Si Robin Padilla kasi hindi po plastic. He is the type of leader na makikita mo na ang ginagamit ay utak. Ang ginagamit niya common sense. Kasi hindi naman talaga kailangan matalino ka para maging senador ka. O, tingnan nyo, si Soto, di ba? Ang katawa-tawa itong si Senador Soto. Kasi, mahirap yung magpa-bright ka na ang totoo bobo ka. Mahirap yan. Oh, yung bang mag-aasta ka na magaling ka, may alam ka, pero pinagtatawanan ka pala ng mga attorney, mga lawyer. Yan ang dahilan bakit nag-number 1 ito bilang senador. Kung maalala po ninyo, noong 2022, pinagtatawanan lang ito ng mga dilawan. Na bakit si Robin, ganun, ganyan, na wala namang alam yan, ganun, ganyan. Ina-underestimate na nila si Robin Padilla. No, tingnan nyo, sino ang maraming batas na naipapasa dyan? Di ba si Robin? I-try nyo research sa website ng Senado, Senate of the Philippines. Kung mapapansin nyo, si Senator Bato nga de la Rosa, ha, parang 6 years lang or 5 years pa si Bato. Magiging I think 4 years pa yata si Bato, no? Kasi 2027, ika 5 years niya, tapos sa 2028, ika 6th year ni Bato. Pero kung titingnan mo, itong si Kiko Pangilinan, 18 years na naging senador sa Pilipinas. Pero mas marami pang batas na naipasa at naaprubahan talaga, naging batas talaga, ha? Mas marami pa si Senator Bato. So hindi po kailangang matalino ka. Si Bato at si Robin Padilla, magkapareha lang yan eh. Common sense ang ginagamit eh. Ngayon, ang sabi niya, gusto niyang mapalitan si Senate President Soto. Alam ko naman eh, sa usaping impeachment, gusto niyang mapalitan kasi si Soto bias. Yan ang pinakadahilan ni Robin Padilla. Nakikita niya itong asta ni Soto at ni Lacson, balimbing yan. Kung sino ang nasa administrasyon, dikit-dikit yan. By the time na si BP Sara na naman ang mapresidente, didikit na naman yan. Kasi, let us say, na mananalo si BP Sara sa 2028. Walang iba dyan. Didikit talaga yan si Soto at si Lacson. Postahan tayo, didikit yan. Sa ngayon, kaya nga itong si Kiko Pangilinan, si Soto, si Lacson, magtataka ka, bakit ang tagal-tagal na yan, lagi pa rin naging senador? Kasi sip-sip yan eh. Nung panahon ni Pinoy, sip-sip sila kay Pinoy. Nung panahon kay Arroyo, sip-sip sila kay Arroyo. Ganun yan. Pero, by the time na para namang hupas na yung like for example, bigyan ko kayo ng example. 2027 at 2028, unti-unti na yung babaliktad yung si Soto at si Lacson. Analysis ko yan, ha, opinion ko yan. Kasi po nakikita na natin yung pattern nila. Hindi ba kagaya nito nila Bato, nila Jinggoy Estrada na may paninindigan, nila Senator Bongo, na kung Duterte kami dati, hanggang ngayon, hanggang kamatayan, kahit wala ng power ang mga Duterte pa rin kami kasi maprinsipyo kaming tao. Kung ano yung ipinaglalaban namin at paniniwala namin, paninindigan namin yan. Pero yung si Lacson at si Soto, wala yan. Wala yan. Di ba? Wala yan silang dalawa. Walang pulpul yan. Okay? So, itong last na video na ipapakita ko sa inyo ay debate. Nagkainitan na naman itong sa Senado. Parang itong si Kiko Pangilinan at si Senator Marcoleta ay talagang mainit talaga ang kanilang yung isang araw nagdebate, ngayon naman umulit-ulit, no? May pride and ego na. Kasi po itong si Kiko Pangilinan, hindi niya matanggap-tanggap ang katalinuhan ni Senator Marcoleta. Ito po, panoorin natin.
That are considering that my interpellation was cut short yesterday. May I proceed, Mr. President? Mr. President, my interpellation yesterday was not intended to weaken our national position on our sovereignty, on our sovereign rights, but to strengthen it through clarity. Because in matters of sovereignty, maritime rights, and territorial claims, precision is patriotism. Ang layunin ko po dito, Mr. President, ay hindi upang ipagtanggol ang anumang banyagang interes, katulad ng China, kundi para patatagin at linawin ang ating paninindigan bilang isang bansa, upang kahit karaniwang mamamayan ay lubos na maintindihan ang sitwasyon, lalo na sa West Philippine Sea. Dahil ang pagtatanggol sa bayan ay nagsisimula sa pag-unawa at katotohanan. The purpose of my questions yesterday, Mr. President, was to point out gaps in our understanding and knowledge of the West Philippine Sea, in that there are key aspects that the arbitral award did not resolve, and that our laws from PD 1596 to RA 9522 and RA 1264 did not address. Thus, my call is for an open discussion of the issues as mature, not amateur persons. Today, the purpose of my questions is to demonstrate why we need to recalibrate our approach in order to bring immediate and concrete benefits to the people. Our method must be focused on bringing food to the tables and alleviating the burdens of our people. In his response yesterday, Mr. President, the good senator said the coastline of Kalayaan Island Group has its own baselines and generated an exclusive economic zone. Mr. President, this response violates the arbitral award, which declared in paragraph 626, the tribunal having concluded that none of the high tide features in the Spratly Islands is capable of sustaining human habitation or an economic life in their own, that such features shall have no exclusive economic zone or continental shelf. Kaya po walang feature sa Kalayaan Island Group, Mr. President, that will be able to generate an exclusive economic zone of its own. Again, in his response yesterday, Mr. President, Senator Pangilinan said there is no need to define the metes and bounds of the West Philippine Sea because this was already settled by the arbitral award. He also said that the arbitral award already determined what the West Philippine Sea is. He also said that the coordinates of the West Philippine Sea can be found in Administrative Order number 29 and Republic Act number 12064. This is not right, Mr. President. The arbitral award ruled on the exclusive economic zone, not the West Philippine Sea. These are two different matters, Mr. President. There are features of the Kalayaan Island Group, such as the Pagasa Island and Parola Island, that are outside this exclusive economic zone. The distance of these features are fixed, Mr. President. The arbitral award did not move their location inside the Philippines. Ang alam ko po, ang Panginoon Diyos lang ang makakagawa noon, Mr. President. In saying also, Mr. President, that we should just implement the arbitral award without asking questions will mean that Senator Pangilinan will be content with just the EEZ. Kapag ka nagkaganon, Mr. President, we will be abandoning Pag-asa, Parola, Kota, and Lankian features, given that these are outside the exclusive economic zone. Instead of turning back on these features, Mr. President, I call that we study how to include them in the West Philippine Sea without violating UNCLOS. Also, in his response yesterday, Senator Pangilinan said the arbitral award did not rule on the validity of PD 1596. This is also incorrect. It will be read on paragraphs 573 to 576 that the Spratly Islands can constitute, it ruled on the issue of whether any claimant on the Spratly Islands can constitute it into an offshore archipelago by drawing archipelagic baselines to straight baselines around it. Sabi po ng tribunal, Mr. President, China has no right to do so. It also said under paragraph 574 that even the Philippines could not declare archipelagic baseline surrounding the Spratly Islands. So meron pong ruling talaga. I did not question the arbitral award, Mr. President, for the record. I just discussed how the arbitral award and our existing laws do not determine the limits of the West Philippine Sea. May I repeat that? Ang nirule lamang po ng arbitral award via the arbitral tribunal, yung exclusive economic zone, hindi po yung West Philippine Sea. These are two different matters. In his response yesterday, Mr. President, Senator Pangilinan quoted the figure 500,000 square kilometers from Justice Carpio's book. Yet in Justice Carpio's decision in the Supreme Court in the case of Magallona versus Ermita, Mr. President, he quoted the government figure that the total area of Philippine EEZ is not 500,000 square kilometers, but only 382,669 square kilometers. If in his book, Justice Carpio included the Philippine rice in his computation, that is also questionable. Para kasing ang nangyari, parang sinama po nila yung Philippine rice. Nobody can claim the waters above Philippine rice.
Bullet points lang.
Those are high seas, Mr. President. Nobody can claim Philippine rice. This is not a territory. As the Philippines cannot claim them, neither China can. What the Philippine applied and registered for is the exclusive right to exploit the Philippine rice, Mr. President. The only way for China to grab the right is to apply and register with the United Nations. China did not oppose our application in the Philippine rice. It has not applied for that right until now, Mr. President. For her part, Senator Ontiveros, Mr. President, yesterday referred to the map of South China Sea in S-23 as Chinese map. She also said that the numbers 6.1 and 6.2 are not coordinates. She then said that maps adopted by the International Hydrographic Organization are not legal but technical only. First, Mr. President, S-23 is not a Chinese publication. It is a publication of the International Hydrographic Organization, or IHO. IHO is an intergovernmental organization of which the Philippines is a part. Second, as the note written beside the map says, the numbers 6.1 and 6.2, etc., refer to the chapter, or hence the coordinates of South China Sea are listed in chapter 6.1. On the map, Mr. President, the coordinates are the points that are connected by red lines. Finally, S-23 is not meant to be a legal title. Tama naman po yun. They are just maps. Under international law on territorial disputes, maps have no evidentiary value. However, S-23 was used by the Philippines in the South China Sea arbitration. Moreover, we need to put West Philippine Sea on an internationally recognized map. Let me begin now, Mr. President, by showing two maps. Pwedeng pakilagay yung first map. Mr. President, these maps are about oil and gas activities in the South China Sea. On both maps, you will see squares and rectangles. They represent oil and gas blocks that have either been merely offered or already licensed and operating. Please bear in mind, Mr. President, that each square and rectangle represent foreign investments running in the millions of and to billions of dollars. Moreover, basins with oil and gas are found on the coastal and central areas. Finally, China and Vietnam have exchanged gunfire, suffered casualties, blasted each other with water cannons, cut cables, rammed vehicles, and so on and so forth. China and Malaysia had a naval standoff. Hence, the territorial and maritime disputes between them are just as explosive. Map 1, Mr. President, was published by New York Times in 2013. It cited a source, the U.S. Office of Hydrographer. In Map 1, Mr. President, you will see gray squares and rectangles along the shallow coast of the South China Sea. Notice that adjacent to the Philippine coast are around 5 to 6 blocks. On the side of Malaysia, there are 12 to 15. Vietnam, 30 to 35. And China, approximately that number also, 30 to 35. Then we go to Map 2. It was published in 2024 by the U.S. Energy Information Agency. First, you will notice the blocks have moved to the deep water areas. Second, the blocks colored in pink are those of the Philippines. Ang mga blocks po ay halos 8 hanggang 12 lang, Mr. President. Malaysia in blue, around 60 to 70. Vietnam in maroon, 70 to 80. And China in yellow, around 60. Third, notice the blocks that are not just claimed, but even licensed by both Vietnam and China. These are shaded in orange. I hope, Mr. President, the good senator will agree that from these maps, we derive numerous lessons. First, despite the arbitral award, oil and gas activities on the Philippine side have stagnated. 6 to 8 lang. Second, it is obvious that the oil and gas activities of Malaysia, China, and Vietnam are robust, if not booming. Third, the licensing overlaps are being managed by experts at the enterprise and state levels. Hence, we hear about flare-ups between China and Vietnam, but they do not escalate. In fact, some of the overlapping blocks are operated by one international petroleum corporation. Fourth, even as their past relations are violent and the present relations are also tense because of the conflicting claims to Spratly Islands and Paracel, they engage in joint exploration and development, Mr. President. Fifth, Vietnam and Malaysia are cooperating and progressing with China. Nobody can accuse them of being pro-China. May I ask the Senator if we would agree that based on these maps, Vietnam, China, and Malaysia are succeeding in oil and gas exploration, but our exploration in our part of the world have stagnated. Would you agree, Your Honor?
Well, there are several other factors for the reason why the area is underdeveloped, and the areas of Malaysia, Vietnam are developed apart from the conflict with China. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, there has been a discovery of natural gas deposits in the Malampaya area. So there are many factors. It is not just the conflict with China that is a reason as to why we are unable to develop our own area in the West Philippine Sea, Mr. President.
But it is very clear, notwithstanding those factors, these maps indicate that we are really behind in oil exploration and gas in the South China Sea.
Well, we're behind in many other aspects, Mr. President, not just oil and gas. We're behind in agriculture, we're behind in tourism, we're behind in energy generation, etc. So I wouldn't be as simplistic as to say because of the underdevelopment of the West Philippine Sea, it's because of our conflict with China, Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President, I hope the Honorable Senator will also agree that there is something effective in the management of relations among China, Vietnam, and Malaysia, and more importantly, their methods of bringing immediate and concrete benefits to their peoples, as shown by these maps, isn't it?
Well, again, I will say yes, up to a certain extent. Perhaps they are managing their relations with China better, but I will not concede that because of our lack of managing our relations with China compared to our neighbors has led to this state of underdevelopment, Mr.
But considering, Mr. President, that we have been left behind, so behind, as a matter of fact,
As I have said, we have been left behind in agriculture. Is that the fault of China? Our relations with China? We have been left behind in infrastructure. Is that because of our sour relations with China? Of course not, Mr. President. There are many reasons why we are lagging behind. And yes, if we are able to better manage our relations with China, we may benefit from it. And definitely, I would like to see that at some point. But at this point, Mr. President, we're fighting for our sovereign waters and our territorial sea. And I think in this case, we should rally behind the Filipino claim in the arbitral ruling, Mr. President.
our agriculture is lackluster. Our tourism is not giving us good statistics. Manufacturing is down. These are local problems, Mr. President. And we have only ourselves to blame why we are not doing good in these areas. But we're talking here of the South China Sea. We're comparing how, despite the tensions, the hostilities between countries like Vietnam and Malaysia, but they are able to manage their relationships. There must be something wrong with how people, like, with all due respect, Commodore Tariela, who managed and broadcast our dispute in the South China Sea. Perhaps because they do not have a loud mouth in their midst. Tayo meron ang dami. Whereas what we have been doing for years is not working. Kagaya po ng pinakikita ng mga mapa na yan in the South China Sea. We have to sit down. Talk rather than imbes na magpatutsadahan po. Wala pong nangyayari. Ito po yung naging bunga kung bakit po tayo biglang nawala sa ere. I know that being bombastic, Tariela earns him likes and makes him probably feel like a rock star, Mr. President. I know national anger sells newspapers. I know mindless patriotism wins accolades. But in reality, as the map show, Mr. President, we are all losing out and are being left behind. The way forward, Mr. President, is open discussion. The starting point is respect for each other's views and the views of our opposing claimants, be it China, Vietnam, Malaysia, etc. The draft resolution, with all due respect, is not the right start, Mr. President.
Mr. President, if I may just point out, the matter of Commodore Torriela, whether we agree to his statements or not, is one issue. Another issue, Mr. President, is that the Department of National Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines have rallied behind Commodore Torriela and condemned the behavior and the actuations of China's embassy officials. If I may quote, the Department of National Defense and the Armed Forces of the Philippines strongly condemn such an affront to any of its members and reiterates that it shall not be cowed by any official of PROC, whether in their homeland or as guests here. And we shall continue to speak against their lies and malign actions when such are committed. That is our Department of National Defense. That is our Armed Forces of the Philippines, Mr. President. The very least that we should do as a Senate is rally behind our Department of National Defense and our men in uniform who risk their very lives to defend the West Philippine Sea, Mr. President. So the actuations of Commodore Tariela may not be, may find discomfort with some of our colleagues, and we will respect that. But our defense establishment and our armed forces have spoken. And I believe senators must rally behind and defend and support our defense establishment in view of the aggression and the of China in our sovereign waters and our exclusive economic zone, as well as our continental shelf, Mr. President.
I will go to that point, Mr. President. But we can also draw lessons from the experiences in the Philippine Sea. In 2008, Malaysia and Indonesia had a naval standoff when Indonesia found oil and gas in Ambalat Field and Ambalat East, and Malaysia offered the same areas as Block, ND6 and ND7. To de-escalate, they agreed to a moratorium in 2009. Last year, their national petroleum corporations agreed on a joint exploration and development. We ourselves are experienced in cooperation in the Philippine Sea. Let me show another map. This is the last map, Mr. President.
Mr. President, just a fine point. Yes, we too have disputes with Vietnam, with Malaysia, and even Indonesia, Mr. President. But the difference is that they do not water cannon us, and they do not ram their ships, their coast guards, the Chinese Coast Guard, to our Philippine ships, Mr. President. It's an entirely different story in that regard, Mr. President.
Let me show you this map, Mr. President. This map is from the US-funded think tank Asia Maritime Transparency Initiative, or AMTI. On the map are areas marked with X. On the upper right hand of the South China Sea, the mark refers to the exclusive economic zone and continental shelf overlap between the Philippines and Taiwan. We have a fisheries and law enforcement agreement there. On the lower left hand, Mr. President, the mark represents the dispute over extended continental shelf between Philippines, Malaysia, and Vietnam. We are in discussion with Vietnam now. On the bottom corner are disputes over Sabah and the territorial sea and contiguous zones it generates. In Sulu Sea and Celebes Sea, we have a tri-point with Malaysia and Indonesia, and the same in the Philippines with Indonesia, Palau, Japan, and Taiwan, emanating from Pratas Island. However, this map will demonstrate to us, Mr. President, the complex territorial and maritime disputes facing the Philippines. Malaysia is in the Sulu Sea and Celebes Sea, with Indonesia over continental shelf in the Celebes Sea, with Palau and Japan, Ryukyu Islands in the Philippine Sea, with Taiwan in the Basi Channel, with China, Malaysia, and Vietnam in the South China Sea, and with China, Taiwan in the South China Sea over the maritime zones generated by Pratas Islands. We must be doing something right in the management of this dispute, Mr. President.
Yes, we are. And
Yun nga po. Kaya
and-
po
and
pinipilit
the-
kong ipaliwanag na bakit dito sa mga areang ito ay nagagawa po nating i-manage ang hindi natin pagkakaunawaan. Ang sabi po nyo kanina, because they are not water cannoning us.
they are also not aggressive. They are not coercive, and therefore there will be no escalation. The aggression of China is primarily the reason why tensions in the disputed areas have risen over time. We have in fact filed 245 protests against China's incursion and illegal activities in our exclusive economic zone since 2022, Mr. President. We also exercise diplomacy. We recognize, and that's precisely why we brought the matter to the tribunal. We recognize that China is a power, economic power, and an emerging military power. And what do small nations like us have? We have the rule of law. international law, and that's why we brought this matter to the International Arbitral Tribunal, Mr. President. We are not the problem here, Mr. President. It is China, the aggression of China, that is the problem here.
Mr. President, si Commodore Tariela po ba ginawan ng caricatures or effigy yung mga heads of state ng Vietnam, ng Malaysia, at ng iba pang karatig bansa?
Hindi kailangan, Mr. President, dahil wala naman silang pag-water cannon sa atin. Hindi naman po nila sinasagasaan ng ating mga mangingisda o inaaresto. Hindi na naman nila, yun na nga, binabangga, wino-water cannon. Yung may aksidente pa na kung saan yung Chinese vessel ay iniwanan ang 22 mga mangingisda natin. At sino ang sumalba sa kanila? Vietnam ang sumalba sa kanila. So bakit tayo makikipagpalitan ng maanghang na salita sa mga meron tayong sabihin na nating maritime disputes na hindi naman tayo inaapi at binabalahura at binabastos, Mr. President. Mr. President, hindi lang po si Commodore Tariela, for the record, ang pati ang ating Senate President, matapos nung binanggit yung persona ng grata, nagsalita ng baluktot, Mr. President. So sana maintindihan natin, hindi lang ito usupin ni Commodore Tariela, hindi lang ito usupin ng mga senador o kaya mga kongresistang binabastos nila. Usupin ito ng Pilipinas na ipaglalaban natin ang atin at dapat magkaisa tayo, Mr. President.
Pare-pareho po tayo sa posisyon na yun, Mr. President. Ang sinasabi ko lang, kailangan bang magkapatutsadahan ng walang katapusan? Ang pag-init po ng sitwasyon ay hindi po nakakabuti sa ating dalawang bansa. Walang katapusan na patutsadahan. Paano po natin kakalmahin? O halimbawa, paano natin papatay ng sunog sa isang bagay na susunog? Yun po ba'y bubuhusan natin ng gasolina? O kailangan natin sabuyan ng malamig na tubig? Mr. President, ang sinasabi ko lamang po, bakit po kinakailangan kasing gumawa pa ng mga caricature at sasabihin na ang presidente ng China ay bully? Siguro po, Mr. President, ang may mumungkahi natin, hindi po tayo kasi magpa-profit from these experiences. Ang DFA, ang BIFAR, ang DNR, sila pong nagmamanage ng ating mga disputed seas. Pero nagkakaroon po tayo ng progreso. Hindi po sila nagano ng mga caricatures o megaphone diplomacy. They did it diplomatically, diligently, and without fanfare, Mr. President, working with their counterparts in settling our differences with our nations. Ang sabi po kasi ninyo, Mr. President, Your Honor, na wala pong anumang ginawa ang ating mga maliban sa China, ang Vietnam o kaya yung ibang bansa ay walang nagawa. Nakalimutan po ba ninyo, Mr. President, in the context of our maritime disputes, we have shot and killed 2 Vietnamese fishermen in 2017 and 1 Taiwanese fisherman in 2013. Did Vietnam and Taiwan accuse us of sowing fear and interfering in our capacity to defend our claims? Gusto ko lang pong ipasariwa sa inyo yung ganon. Talaga pong nagkakaroon ng ganon eh. Ngunit sila, hindi naman tayo ginawan ng masama kahit na nakapatay tayo ng ilan sa kanilang mga tao. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin, anong patutunguhan natin kung patutsadahang walang katapusan?
Mr. President, if I may, the incidents mentioned by the good senator from Tarlac are isolated incidents from Vietnam and Taiwan. These are isolated incidents. This is not in the same realm as China's 24/7 acts, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, incursion and threatening. And Mr. President, Taiwan or Vietnam did not threaten us publicly. 2 weeks ago, the Embassy of China said the uniform if I may quote, a word of advice to relevant individuals in the Philippines: immediately stop making provocations and stop confusing right and wrong, or they will pay the price for what they did. Embassy officials sa Pilipinas, tinatakot tayo. Tama ba yun? So again, Mr. President, yes, we have had these incidents with Vietnam. Oo, meron tayong naging insidente sa Taiwan, pero isolated incidents. In fact, yung sa Taiwan, iisa lamang ata sa loob ng 20 taon. Yung sa Vietnam ata, iisa rin lang siguro sa 10 taon. Hindi iba. Sa China, araw-araw tayong hinaharas, araw-araw tayong nandyan, nagtayo na nga ng kanilang airport, artificial islands, lantaran, Mr. President. So, apples and oranges ang pinag-uusapan yung insidente natin with our neighbors like Vietnam and Taiwan compared to China. Ibang-iba po.
Isolated or otherwise, Mr. President, nakapatay tayo ng kanilang tauhan. Ilan po ba ang pinatay ng China sa atin? Meron po ba?
Well, Mr. President, may naputulan ng hinlalaki. At yung 22 sinagasaan ng Chinese vessel at iniwanang mamatay, kung hindi sinalba ng Vietnamese fishermen, namatay na yung mga yun. So,
Ilan po ba, Mr. President, ang sinalba ng China kamakailan? 17 Filipinos. 17 fishermen.
at
Ano po ang
nagpapasalamat
ginawa
tayo.
ni Commodore Tariela?
At
He was very
nagpapasalamat tayo.
condescending, Mr. President. Imbes na pasalamatan niya ng buong puso sapagkat 17 mga kababayan natin ang naisalba, yung kanyang pagpapasalamat na ginawa is condescending, Mr. President.
Uulitin
Let
ko.
me suppose that the embassy that is challenging your position, Mr. President, is questioning your knowledge. What if the Vietnamese or Malaysian, what if China tells the Philippine embassy in Beijing not to post or publish views that contradict the international law opinions of Chinese officials? Would that be acceptable to the Philippines?
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I beg your indulgence. You are saying that if Vietnam publishes, sorry, I missed the
No,
the
what if China tells the Philippine embassy in Beijing not to post or publish views that contradict the international law opinions of Chinese officials? Would that be acceptable to the Philippines? Halimbawa lang, sinabihan yung ating embahada doon. Huwag kayong magpapublish
Yes,
ng mga
well,
views.
Well, Mr. President, that's their country. They will do what they will do. They will, in fact, there is no freedom of the press in China, Mr. President. So, if the government does that, then we will have to respect their position because we are merely guests in China, just as they are merely guests in the Philippines, Mr. President.
I would disagree, Mr. President. That will be unacceptable to me. Another question. The Philippine Embassy in Beijing assists the Philippine Coast Guard and DND in monitoring Chinese vessels in the West Philippine Sea. Have you heard China complain that this essential work of the Philippine Embassy interferes with Chinese internal affairs?
Mr. President, whether they complain or not, they're already in our exclusive economic zone. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to understand the position of the good gentleman in his defense of China and their position.
I am not defending China, Mr. President. I said, sinabi ko na kanina, ang ating discussion ngayon is not in defense of any other countries. We are defending Philippine interest. Ang pangyayari lang, kailangan nating linawin, ano ba talagang pinagtatanggol natin? Kung hindi po tayo nakatitiyak kung anong area ang pinagtatanggol natin, hindi po malinaw. Pati paggasta natin ang budget, kung alin ang dedepensahan natin, yun lang ang punto rito eh. At pinaliliwanag ko kanina pa sa pamagitan ng mga mapa, hindi po nagkakaroon ng positibong resulta sa ating bansa, yung pagbabangayan. Nakita na po natin, the South China Sea is rich in mineral deposits, in oil and gas. Nauhuli na po tayo dahil patutsadahan ng patutsadahan. Bakit nagawa po ng ibang bansa? Bakit hindi po natin magawa? Dahil nga po sa walang katapusang patutsada. Tingnan po natin ang West Philippine Sea. Mr. President, ang sabi po natin, wala pa po kasi sa mapa. Bakit po wala sa mapa, Mr. President? Kasi po hindi ginagawa ng ating mga ahensya ang dapat gawin. Ang sabi po kasi sa Administrative Order number 29, which was issued on September 5, 2012, more than a decade ago. Sabi po sa Section 3 ng Administrative Order 29, the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority, NAMRIA, shall produce and publish charts and maps of the Philippines reflecting the West Philippine Sea in accordance with this order. And finally, on November 8, 2024, the National Mapping and Resource Information NAMRIA committed to release a new Philippine map that includes the West Philippine Sea. But up to now, regrettably, Mr. President, this remains unfulfilled. Bakit hanggang ngayon ay wala pa ring mapa? What specific obstacles have prevented the production and publication of this map for over 10 years? Does NAMRIA dispute that Section 3 uses the word shall indicating mandatory and not a discretionary duty? Mr. President, kung wala po tayong mapa na maibibigay sa IHO at madideposit sa United Nations, hindi po kailanman uusad ang ating itinataguyod na sana mailagay sa mapa ng mundo ang West Philippine Sea.
Mr.
Bakit
President,
hindi po natin,
Mr. President,
paano po natin may pagtatanggol ang teritoryo kung wala tayong malinaw na mapa, Mr. President?
Mr. President, nabanggit na natin ito kahapon. Bumabalik tayo ulit doon sa usapin na ito. Pero babanggitin ko ulit, Mr. President. Maliwanag, Mr. President, na under Republic Act 9522, yung baseline law, Republic Act 12064, Philippine Maritime Zone Act, at yung AO 29, maliwanag na in-identify ang West Philippine Sea. Diyan nakasaad yung extent ng West Philippine Sea. It has been sufficiently and defined by these three government instruments and laws, Mr. President. So, hindi ko maintindihan bakit dahil walang meets and bounds, etc. ay ibig sabihin wala tayong maaring mahina ang ating claim. I beg to disagree, Mr. President. In fact, under our laws, meets and bounds refer to the baseline of 200 nautical miles. From baseline, 200 nautical miles ang ating exclusive economic zone. Merong 12 miles territorial sea, 24 miles contiguous zone, and so forth. Yun ang UNCLOS, Mr. President. Kaya hindi ko naintindihan bakit pinipilit itong pag-define ng meets and bounds ng West Philippine Sea kung na-define na. Besides, Mr. President, ayon sa UNCLOS, yung purpose ng pag-submit when UNCLOS obliges states to show the coordinates of